Hello again! Let's take a look at the best films in and out of the official competition at Cannes 2025. The Venetian scheme tells the story of Sasha Corda, the richest man in Europe and a leader in the arms and aeronautics industry, who becomes embroiled in a complex web of espionage and betrayal as he launches an ambitious infrastructure project. Of his 10 children, his only daughter, Anand, is named heir to his empire, adding to conflict of all kinds. Does it sound a bit like Wes Anderson's previous films? Quite a lot, doesn't it? His choral casts offer a wide palette of celebrities for the red carpet, sure, but I don't think that's surprising anymore. Anyway, this is the fourth time he's competing for the Palme d'Or, which he has not won so far. 4 times in Berlin, where he won the Grand Jury Prize for the Grand Hotel Budapest, and the Silver Bear for Best Director for Isle of Dogs. Once in Venice, where he won the Little Golden Lion for the Darjeeling Limited. He has also had 8 Oscars nominations, out of which he has won 1 for a short film, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Set in 1959, Nouvelle Vague chronicles the efforts of young critic and aspiring filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard to finance his first feature film, Breathless, with the backing of key figures such as François Truffaut and Claude Chabrol. The story takes place at that year's Cannes Film Festival, where Truffaut's The 400 Blows is well received, making the beginning of the French New Wave. It may seem surprising that an American filmmaker would decide to tell such a French story and in French, but it makes sense to us cinephiles who consider that absolutely the whole history of cinema belongs to us. Linklater has already shown that he is not only a filmmaker but also a cinephile, and he knows that if he gets it wrong, he will be asked, "Why are you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong?" This is the 3rd film with which Linklater competed at Cannes. He also appeared 4 times at the Berlinale, where he won the Silver Bear for Best Director twice for Before Sunrise and Boyhood, once in Venice, where he won 2 awards for Walking Life, and 5 Oscar nominations. Alpha is an 11-year-old girl living with her single mother in a fictional city inspired by the 1980s New York, who is suddenly rejected by her classmates because she is rumored to have been infected with a new disease. Julia Ducournau is a French filmmaker known for her bold and visceral approach to genre cinema, especially body horror. This is her 3rd feature film after Grave, with which she won the Free Press Prize at the Cannes Critics Week, and Titan, with which she became the first woman to win the Palme d'Or alone at the Cannes Film Festival, preceded by Jane Campion, who in 1993 won it for the piano, but shared it with Farewell My Concubine by Kai Gechend. Die, My Love follows a woman living in a remote, forgotten rural area, trapped in an all-consuming domestic routine. She cares for her young son and maintains a strained relationship with her husband, while she struggles with violent urges, repressed sexual desires, and a deep sense of alienation, quite a desperate housewife. Based on the novel of the same name by Ariana Harwicks, previously adapted into a play and now made into a film by Scottish filmmaker Lynne Ramsay. 7th Cannes appearance, 3rd Palme d'Or nomination, twice winner of the Best Short Film Award and, among others, Best Screenplay and Best Actor for You Were Never Really Here. Also winner of a BAFTA for Ratcatcher and another for the short film Swimmer. In Two Prosecutors, during the period of the Stalinist Great Terror, a prisoner's letter escapes destruction and leads prosecutor Karnev to uncover the corruption of the People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs. His quest for justice in Stalin's Soviet Union brings him face to face with the ruthless structures of the totalitarian regime, putting his own safety at risk. Based on the novel of the same name by Gregory Demidov, this is Ukrainian filmmaker Sergei Loznitsa's most recent feature film after Donbass, with which he won the Uncertain Regard Directing Prize at Cannes. Loznitsa began his career as a documentary filmmaker and has maintained a strong connection to that format even in his fictional works, which possess a quasi-documentary aesthetic, while his documentaries take on dramatic structures. Between fiction and documentary, this is his 8th Cannes presentation and his 4th nomination for the Palme d'Or.
ظاهرش معلومه خیلی چیز خفن و کار درستی باشه.
A simple accident focuses on a seemingly trivial incident that triggers a series of increasingly serious consequences. At the director's request, specific details of the plot and cast are being kept under wraps, as Jafar Panahi, a leading figure in Iranian cinema, has faced government restrictions that have prevented him from traveling and working freely. 3 times at the Berlinale, where he won the Golden Bear for Taxi, among other awards, and 3 times in Venice, where he won the Golden Lion for The Circle. This is his 5th film he has participated in Cannes, starting in 1995, where he won the Golden Camera for The White Balloon. Then, the Uncertain Regard Award Jury Prize for Crimson Gold, the Golden Coach Award, and the Best Screenplay for 3 Faces. Will this be the turn of the Palme d'Or? The history of sound follows Lionel and David, who, during World War I, set out to record the lives, voices and music of their countrymen. It is based on the Pushcart Prize-winning American author Ben Shattuck's short story of the same name. Some have compared its premise to that of Brokeback Mountain, highlighting the exploration of homosexual relationships in historical contexts. Director Oliver Hermanus told Variety, "This is an unexpected love story that needs to be told. A journey through the life of 20th century America and the traditions of American folk music, all seen through the bond between 2 men immersed in the history of sound." Oliver Hermanus is a South African filmmaker recognized for his bold and poetic approach, tackling themes such as identity, sexuality, and the aftermath of apartheid. His experience as a press photographer also influenced his visual sensibility. This is his 6th film as director, 2nd time at Cannes. He won the Queer Palm with Beauty, twice in Venice, and the BAFTA nomination.
Okay, I'll come.
In SIRAT, after the disappearance of his daughter Marina at Arabian Morocco, Luis sets out on a journey to find her with his 12-year-old son Esteban. The journey takes them through the desert and the Moroccan Atlas Mountains, following a group of young people to an illegal party on the southern border in the hope of finally finding Marina. 4th film by Spanish filmmaker Oliver Laxe, and 4th time in Cannes after You All Are Captains, which won the Fipresi Prize, Mimosas, which won the Critics' Week Grand Prize, and Fire Will Come, which won the Uncertain Regard Jury Prize. Everything indicates that SIRAT will win the Palme d'Or. Eddington, fictional New Mexico town, May 2020, during the early month of the COVID-19 pandemic, with Sheriff Joe Cross and Mayor Ted Garcia clashing politically. When Cross assaults a protester and justifies his actions on television, and riots erupt in the community, his ex-wife further distances herself from him, and the mayor, campaigning for re-election, seeing an opportunity to reinforce his political position. This is American director Ari Aster's 4th feature film, following Hereditary, Midsommar, and Boys Afraid. 1st time at a Class A festival. Like 2 years ago with Maverick, Tom Cruise presents in Cannes the 2nd part of the last part, perhaps, of Mission Impossible, in this case called The Final Reckoning. It is a win-win deal. Cannes improves its business thanks to Tom, and Tom improves his prestige thanks to Cannes. Christopher McQuarrie started directing in 2000, and since then this is only his 6th film as a director. Almost all blockbusters with Tom Cruise, but he has been writing since long before that. 17 films, including The Usual Suspects, for which he won an Oscar and a BAFTA.
I need you to trust me one last time.
Do you believe you'll be successful?
Also out of competition is Highest to Lowest, which is a reinterpretation of Akira Kurosawa's 1963 Japanese film High and Low. The story follows a music mogul with a reputation for having the best ear in the business, who is faced with a moral dilemma: to pay a ransom for someone's life or not. Directed by Spike Lee, who competed 6 times at Cannes, 3 times nominated for the Palme d'Or, winner of 4 awards including the Grand Jury Prize for Blacksman in 2018, 4 times in Berlin, 4 times in Venice, winner of an Oscar, in short, a lot.
Address you wanted?
Thanks, MJ.
Honey, right?
Love those click-clacking heels.
The midnight screenings section brings us Honey Don't, in which Honey O'Danowy, a private detective, becomes involved in an investigation of unexplained deaths in a small town, which leads her to a mysterious religious leader and his questionable church, so that in addition to the deaths, Honey explores the secrets and corruption within the community.
We're here for the car.
The second part of the trilogy of B-movie productions with lesbian protagonists by Ethan Coen and Tricia Cook. In other words, with his wife and without her brother Joel. After Drive Away Dolls, also starring Margaret Qualley, the third and final film will be left for another festival. Two young Hollywood actresses and a young actor are making their directorial debuts and will compete for the Uncertain Regard Awards, bringing to this section names that are a little more familiar to the general public. Eleanor the Great tells the story of Eleanor Morgenstein, a 90-year-old woman who, after the death of her best friend, moved to New York to make a fresh start. There she seeks to rebuild her life and strike up an unexpected friendship with a 19-year-old girl. What are they going to do together? No one knows. And hopefully the film will tell us. Scarlett Johansson, who previously directed a short film, directs this film. The Chronology of Water is based on Lydia Yuknavitch's memoir. It tells the story of how Lydia, thanks to a scholarship to the University of Texas to become an Olympic swimmer, runs away from her abusive home, but soon loses the scholarship due to her addictions. She then studies at Oregon, where she works with Ken Casey, and continues to explore her identity and her bisexuality. And it is through writing, swimming, and family that Lydia will overcome her past and become a teacher, a mother, and a writer. Kristen Stewart, who has already directed short films, music videos, and an episode of Homemade, co-writes and directs this film. Urchin is about Mike, a homeless man in London struggling to break a circle of self-destruction. If you Google the word, you get this: a sea urchin.
Right. As you all know, main concern for your areas is the overflow of bins.
Written and directed by Harris Dickinson, who previously directed 4 short films.